Hello, my name is Bainhart, and I am making a guide on how to speedrun the any percent category for this game, Chairs. So first of all, my credentials. Who am I? At time of recording, I am the world record holder in the any percent category for this game. I also happen to be the record holder for every individual level run in the entire game, although that may not sound necessarily the most impressive given that there are only 2 players. But hopefully with this guide, anybody who may want to learn is free to do so. And my records are not only on the speedrun.com website. If you look on the library page for Chairs and click Discussions, there is a pinned link to the Steam leaderboards where I also have the official best times for every stage in the game, other than this player Grunkus, who we don't really know what's going on with Grunkus, but aside from him, of course, I have every stage, even if not by very much, but a record is a record. First up is Appliance Avenue. Now this is the shortest stage in the run, but it is also the most precise. Playing this one at a high level is very demanding. Immediately charge a boost to about half. Sometimes around a third is okay, but if you want to be safe and consistent, half is about right. This first corner has a habit of eating a lot of your speed. That's why we like to have more speed than we think we'll need. Also, you have to fast fall onto the platform just so that you'll be there long enough to get your jump charge as you're leaving it. The trick for this cliff jump is wait after you boost the first time until your second charge is starting to return. You then boost and jump with that second charge effectively back to back, and the boost speed is used as your vertical speed for the jump. Fast fall once you're above the ledge so that you can touch the ground, get a jump charge back, and then jump onto the spring. But remember to fast fall, because fast falling into a spring gives you more height for some reason. Just don't fast fall long enough that it persists into the spring's boost, or you'll basically just fast fall onto the spring again. Boost jump off the spring's bounce to skip the first cliff entirely. At the bottom, skip the gate, boost 3 times, and pick up the prisms as close to them as you can be while making sure to store a jump for the spring ahead. Fast fall into the spring again for more height. There's a prism at the top of this umbrella looking thing that you're going to grab as you're turning left to aim towards this table in the distance. Now how you handle this next section is completely different based on whether or not you end up with 2 jumps or 1 available to you after leaving the purple table after the blue table. Generally, you want to fast fall onto the blue table as early as you're comfortable, because the longer you spend touching a surface, the more you're going to be generating charges. In this clip, it might be covered up by my splits, but I leave the purple table with only 1 charge. So I steer myself into the first 2 prisms and go out of my way to use the jump that I have to go high enough to touch this pillar, fast fall onto the pillar, and touch it long enough to get a jump that I'll use for the second pillar's prism. Briefly, this is a clip where I leave the purple table with 2 charges. You can see we don't have to touch the first pillar at all and can grab its prism from a distance instead. Second stage is Dusty Dunes. Now, if you noticed, my splits are a little bit different. That's because I'm going to be using whatever footage I have that I think best showcases a given stage. Right off the bat, we're going to charge, and we're going to try to go through this first gate towards the right edge so that we can skip the second and third ones. Make sure to touch this ground long enough to get at least 1 jump charge back, as we need to go through this gate. There's a prism behind this checkpoint, can be easy to forget. This prism allows us to skip a more annoying one later on in the stage, even if it does look a little bit out of the way. None of these springs need fast falls, they give enough height as it is. Fast falling into the ground here is to ensure we have at least one jump charge for up ahead. Here I already had it, sometimes I don't. A hard U-turn after this 8th prism. No fast fall on this spring either. I actually barely like to touch the control stick at all during this one. This section can be kind of crazy at high speeds, but what I like to do is collect the first 2 prisms and then fast fall the second I'm kind of off that ramp, and the fast fall will sort of drag me back onto it. Watch that number because we grab a prism that's above us through the floor here. And for the end, we just have to do another fast fall onto the platform that has risen to get our second jump back. And here, space the jumps out a little bit. Don't just mash them one after the other. I find that gives much more success in reaching high enough. Right off the bat, Fungal Forest is weird. I like to charge a boost until the go announcement is done, and then each of these prisms we're going to be trying to grab as close as we can. For speed, we have to use all of our charges on jumps, which we fast fall immediately afterwards to spend as much time on the ground as possible to have 2 charges by the time we're heading towards this zip line. Timing jumps like you see here so that they occur at like the max height of something like a spring bounce or some other kind of propulsion is actually going to occur a couple times throughout the run and takes practice. Here we skip the zipline and instead launch ourselves off this platform, and we're going to be going through this object in the background. This part's a good example of how interactables reset all of your charges. We're going to be jumping onto this zip so that we get our jumps back. Jump into a fast fall off the zip to grab these prisms and try to spend enough time on this ledge to get 2 jumps. Jump off the zip as soon as we hit this little flat part you see ahead. Right around here is usually fine. You're going to notice through a lot of the back half of Fungal Forest, we don't boost at all. As long as the chair has that rainbow after image trail, we're going at top speed, and boosting would only slow us down a little bit. Another launch off the ledge here. This section is, in my opinion, the best showcase of how the closer you are to a prism when you grab it, the more of a boost in speed you get, but you also get a little bit more of like a hiccup frame lag on each one. Sometimes taking this turn hits the ramp and you launch past the zip instead of on it. That's something to keep in mind. Closing out the stage, this section is a lot of just measuring jumps and using fast fall to get more. Watch right at the end, for example, that you have one to get to the end portal. Here's a quick example of what happens if you don't have 2 jumps for the zipping section in Fungal Forest. You have to touch the first zip again to get a jump back for the second. Mad Mountain starts off simple enough, just some tight control and grabbing prisms as close as we can. Here you're actually going to see me accidentally bonk my fastball into this like snowbank on the ledge. What I was trying to do is touch down as soon as possible to get 2 jumps by the time we're leaving the other side. If you don't have 2 jumps, you're actually very likely to bonk into the snowbank on the upper ledge instead, so very tight. Use the angle to go around this gate because the platforms stay materialized long enough that we don't need it, and the gates are slow, so... Again, none of these springs are fast fall required. Actually, if you fast fall the first one, you may go too high over the second one where you actually want to be lower. A gate that we have to hit once again, but we immediately veer right and go around this off-stage route instead. Take the right path after this gate. And another right turn after these 3 prisms. Another, like, jump fast fall maneuver off this zip line. Basically, you want to shoot for just high enough to get onto this raised donut shape, but make sure not to hit the zip that's in between, because we take that zip on the way out. There's a prism right at the end of this zip. It's one of the easiest in the game to forget, in my opinion, so just try to hammer it into your head. I mean, you can see it right now, actually. At the very end of the stage, there is this combination of 5 prisms in like an X shape. You actually only need 4 on a perfect run, but this is the best location of an extra if you ever find during a run you just happen to miss one, like, say, on the zip line. And if we're going top speed, we only want to touch 1 gate in this final leg again, because the gates are very slow, so try to skip the second one. This Volcanic Void is my IL, so no splits on screen at all. I'm just going to say, I don't like this stage. I don't know if anybody likes this stage. It's always like a quarter of the length of every run, but you're going to have to practice it, and it's really hard. So immediately after this gate, you're going to want to charge a boost off of the momentum from it, and use the boost after you've hit this kind of ledge to cover most of the distance of this gap. Still won't be going very fast at this point. Try to grab 4 of these prisms, and if you can, have 1 charge ready by the time you leave the platform. Again, not a fast fall spring, and keep in mind that you can be grabbing prisms above you as you're bouncing off it. These formations you see are just spread out enough that we would have to do like a little wiggle to get all of them, and it's been routed tightly enough that we don't need every single one, so just try to kind of keep going straight past them. But do get most of them if you can. Awesome. The exception is these ones up ahead. We need all 6 of these prisms, wiggle included. Don't miss them. Very sharp left turn here, and you need to have at least 2 coins or fireballs or whatever by the time you're leaving this ledge. What? Those flaming columns can kill you, but I don't usually run into them. I very rarely lose runs to them. Just keep a close eye on them if your cycle is a little weird. Another very tight wiggle. I hate this stage. There are two prisms here, one above and one in front of you, so just basically mash twice when you're jumping. We go off the ledge here, and on this platform there's another triangle wiggle thing, so here the jumps are not very precise. With the coins you can basically just mash and you'll usually have enough height to reach. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Ramp this ledge here for additional height. And here is like the one kind of extra prism, I would say. It's like not directly in our path, but we do need to pick it up every time. Every prism in this stage is like meticulously routed, and this is the closest one that's still, you know, in our path, so I like to check if I have 110 as I'm going off this ledge towards the end. I'm good. It means I've gotten all the prisms I need to before. If not, you're going to have to pick up another extra one ahead that I'll point out. So here you should see on the left, it's very small, but that's another prism that you can get. Again, it's not on like a direct route to the end of the stage, which is going to be in that volcano, but you know, it's another spare that's there. It's maybe like a second time loss, so sometimes if you're really trying to save your run, you can grab that one, but you shouldn't have to. Finally, we have Zero Zone, another IL footage for this one. The stage starts off with a quick double boost and then 5 prisms that you're going to want to time pretty well because they are going to bring us to top speed. Now keep in mind that this stage doesn't have a prism requirement, so we're mostly looking to collect them to maintain our speed, while keeping in mind that grabbing too many can contribute time loss. Taking this spring, we immediately steer to the left where we're going to be doing a significant skip. I like to try to line myself up with either this like E vertical section on the send in the background, or if it's the M, sometimes like the right side of the M is kind of in line as well. It takes some learning to get used to. And this also, as I mentioned earlier, has some of those kind of peak height jump timings we're going to want to look for. So really, optimizing this skip is a lot of practice. The other thing to keep in mind with Zero Zone is that the enemies, whatever they are very random, and a lot of times they'll just spawn in your way, so runs can go badly because of that. Try not to get too frustrated about it. This small section also perhaps the best sample in the entire run of like pretty tight fast falls to get just enough time on the ground to get our jump charges back. You're going to see like 3 or 4 of those in a row. Here the aim is to go for the railing. There's like a small kind of sloped section of it you can hit that will scoop you right up and save you a jump getting to the next part. Oh, or not. Tiny slip up here, again owing to the random enemy spawns. Normally this section's a little smoother, but you get on the rail, it's pretty much what you're going for. Huge zipline jump here. It's pretty easy. I don't really find the timing to be that tight because you'll have a second jump to make it up. Also, losing the prism chain here is totally fine because the zipline will put us back at top speed. These are also kind of like peak height jump timings we're looking for. Basically, you get 3 coins and you need to only use 2 for this gap so that you have 1 for the next section.
Okay,
It's important to have 2 jumps at the end here and also kind of like nudge ramp yourself off the ledge. Try not to hit like the purple corner thing, that stops you pretty hard. Fast fall basically immediately as you pass through this gate so we can get a prism at the bottom. Huge skips in the Volcanic Void section. First one coming up here. We want to be at top speed and we need this 1 coin and we just launch ourselves off the edge. The second involves making it to these coins here and then kind of turning left towards, there'll be this zip line off in the distance that you definitely can reach no matter how it looks. And this home stretch is a bit of a nightmare. I've lost a lot of times to just guys spawning in my path, but for whatever reason I like to grab the prisms in the first half and then skip them in the second half. Again, kind of those like micro frame lags when you grab them. It's possible you don't need any of them, but we'll see. So that's it as far as stages are concerned. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing my voice at this point, but there are 2 small things I wanted to cover in this guide before I close. The first one are settings. This game has a couple settings that are important. For one, the level timer is an option. The story skip is an option because yes, this game does have a story, as unbelievable as that may be. And most important of all is this setting, evil mode. This is basically like the processing and effects on the game, you know, more filters, more crazy colors and all that kind of thing. Generally speaking, it will be far easier to record good footage and submit your times if you turn off evil mode. Generally going to want to do that every time you play. The very last thing I want to talk about is frame timing. So on all of my YouTube video uploads of my runs, I have the split timing in the title. That's something I like to use as a frame of reference while I'm recording, so I know how my runs are going. But our records actually use frame timing. Now, what that means is we locate a specific frame of your video submission at the beginning and a specific frame at the end and calculate the time between them, which I do using this handy website, which I will be linking in the video description. But basically, say I have my video here on YouTube, I would go to the start of the run here in Appliance Avenue. Now the hotkeys on YouTube to frame by frame are comma and period. I'm going to look for here on the bottom corner of the run, you see the game's timer has already started. And even if I go back a frame, there's already been some time. So, still some time. Here would be the first frame of the run. And now this calculator has you right click, copy debug info, and paste it into the beginning frame on this website. Now then, the last frame of the run is in the ending portal on 0 zone. We're going to find that real quick, but the definition is the very first frame that has any particles for entering the portal. So we're going to scrub one frame at a time, comma, and look for, no, okay, we're still in the portal animation. And here there's no particles, and here there are. So we're going to stop on this frame. Again, right click, copy debug info, and go to our frame timer. Now with our beginning frame and ending frame, the computer will tell us our time was 12 minutes, 12 seconds, and 83. So that's all I have for today. That's everything I can possibly think of that you may need to know to run the any % speedrun for chairs, which is available on Steam from developer The Rat Zone. I probably should have said that at the beginning of the video. Hopefully this video lasts any time at all. Making it was a little bit of work, and I would really prefer not having to update to strats anytime soon. Anything I may not have remembered to cover, feel free to leave a YouTube comment, or there will be a link in the description to the speedrun.com page where you can DM me or the other moderator. Basically, reach out or have fun playing, and I hope to see you on the leaderboard.